Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I got my wife Nikki behind the camera today, so I can actually go in and pick up the plants, show you all underneath all the canopies instead of all the upside down angles I've been doing on. So yeah, we're gonna start here in the front corner. I'm not gonna show you every single plant, but just a few choice ones. This is the red 7-pot. You can see, especially over here, I mean, I don't know how many peppers are on this plant, but it's probably 50 or 60 pods, and a few are starting to ripen, as you can see. I've already taken a few smaller ones that are about this size that were partially ripening, and they just fell off the plant. So there's that one, and another side here. So there's a ton of them. Can't wait for those to start ripening. And the CGN 21500. There's a lot of ripe ones now, as you can see.
Beautiful.
And there's tons more to come. There's probably 100 pods on this plant now. I didn't realize there were so many. And they just keep popping up. So all the ones in the center of the plant are ripening first. That's the central nervous system of the plant, so to speak. And the other ones will follow suit. I think they'll probably start ripening faster. Once I start picking these, I got a few people interested in seeds that I'm going to send some to. So we'll mosey along here now to the Akosito, which this thing is a beast. It's hard to see all the peppers on it because they're close in color to the foliage itself. Or you can see there's a few starting to ripen in here, getting just a little bit darker, and then they'll turn a golden yellow when they're fully ripe. Almost the color of like a daddle pepper. If anybody knows what color those are, like a golden yellow, a little bit orangish tint to them, but they're like a really rich gold color. And the Checo Ants, I've been kind of not really showing all that much what's going on with these, but they got tons of pods on them now. They don't get very big, but yeah, they're really fluffing out with pods now, and I'm fairly certain they'll turn red when they're ripe. Most bird type varieties and wild species are red for the final color, but I don't know what the actual peppers looked like until they started podding up. So I guess we'll see what color they turn. Moving along here, I pick up one of my hefty boys here, the lemon drop.
You can untangle it.
They got a lot starting to ripen on this one.
Wow.
The brighter yellow ones are starting to lighten up a little bit now, just like the ones last year. So there's one of those. And teal, and you can see for yourself now how many are ripening up in this heart of the plant here. There's probably 200 to 300 peppers in this plant.
You think so?
Yeah, because look at how many
all
are.
The green ones that you can't even really tell are there almost.
So there's probably 100 pods that are ripe at this point, maybe more. It's hard to count. Oh, one fell off. Bonus. Just plop that in my pocket here. And moving along, right behind it here, we got Bishop's Crown. And there's a lot on this one now, and they're all getting to be a good size.
Yeah, they're big.
The plant of this I have at my mom's, it doesn't have as many pods on it, but they're like golf ball size, maybe a little bit bigger width.
Huge.
Like even this one's getting pretty big. There's a lot of good ones on this. It's a really heavy producer, so this is one that's being overwintered, and you can see at the base of the stem how thick it is. It's like a tree at this point, you know, 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch diameter. Oh, one just fell off.
The bees are not liking us disturbing them. There's a flurry of bumblebee activity in the garden right now. Perfect mid-afternoon time for them.
Lost a couple Bishop's Crowns here. Oh, garden snack. Very nice. And here's my orange Manzano. Not very much to look at as far as number of pods go, but it's steadily getting bigger, the one that's on here. So even if I get one, then I can spread some seeds to different people. And here's the Apache bush. Now starting to ripening. There's a lot of tiny. Look at these tiny ones that are ripe.
Yeah.
There's one right in the heart there. It's ripe, but it's like the size of a pekin. So there's a ton of them on here that haven't ripened yet. I'd say there's probably 100 pods on this plant. Wow, I didn't realize there were so many on here. Look at all of these.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, don't pick them
like
up.
as many pods as there are leaves on that thing.
Yeah. And here's my unknown, what I suspected might be a chocolate butt, really starting to pod up.
The roots are growing into the mulch.
That's fine. This is what they're looking like. They look almost like a habanero. We'll wait and see whenever time they decide to ripen, and see what color they turn. Now, they don't really look like butts. They just look like habs of some sort. They're all pointed like this though, so it's a consistent shape. I guess we'll find out, but look at how many flowers are on this. I don't know what's going on. It's just a late bloomer, but here we go. We'll probably bring it into the last of these pods mature. And here's the Congo orange. Starting to have a few more ripe ones. This is I guess that they turn red eventually. There are some anomalous shaped ones in here that look more like a habanero than anything.
They're pretty.
Most of them are pointed like this.
They're really cool looking.
Mm-hmm. That's got some good pottage on it. A lot of
6.5 minutes.
big ones. Purple Cayennes are starting to ripen to a nice red color. The purple's only a transition hue, and they never even turned all the way around. Just the sides that are facing the sun, black and then red. So
you turn the bucket?
Sometimes. And purple UFOs, prolific.
Wow.
And there's a few that are starting to ripen finally, so I'll be able to, ooh, this one's rotten. Get some of those out to some people and save the seeds. Spread it around. Oh, wicked. One of my Hungarian Blacks is finally turning. Very cool. Cool transitionary hue. I don't think any of these sweet ones are changing yet. But, you know, these, what I thought were pimenta dinades are undoubtedly crossed with something, because this is the color that they turn when they're ripe. Looks like some sort of anomalous cross.
Orangish, peachish.
They're definitely Chinense. I tried one of the unripe pods, and it definitely's got the habanero type flavor to it. As far as what it is exactly and what it's crossed with, I don't know, but it's really starting to pod up. You can see there's probably 40 pods on each plant at this point. And moving along over here. Here's my nursery habanero. Just absolutely loaded with pods.
Wow.
And there's a bunch that are ripe now.
Look at those.
Here's the upper end of the size scale. Just about what you find in the grocery store. Tons of danglers way back in here. And here's a good shot of how dense the pods are in the center of the plant here. Ridiculous amount of, it's leaning over. I maybe should have staked it up, but I didn't. And the Bikinos.
Ooh.
A ludicrous amount of pods, and now they're all starting to ripen. So, looking good.
It's too tall for me to see from that angle, sorry.
Oh, those are so good when they're ripe.
Are those too hot for Des?
This one wasn't bad, actually. Sometimes they do get a little zippy. And my red RBB Gussanos starting to ripen up nicely.
Those are so weird looking.
They start off orange. They orange up all the way to the tip here slowly from the stem all the way down, and then they turn red after about a week maybe. And as you can see, they're quite prolific.
Tons of them. Zeb. Cutting the grass in the garden.
Yellow bullets are all starting to ripen now, as you can see.
Tons
Another
of them.
that is just ludicrously loaded with pods. I'm not even gonna wager a guess. Well, yeah, sure, I'll wager a guess. I'll say like 300 or 400 pods on this plant. They're just ridiculously
All the
prolific.
yellow ones catch your eye at first, and then you see that there's like twice as many
Green?
green ones as
Yeah,
there
oh,
are
yeah.
yellow ones.
Yeah, a lot of pods on this.
Zabbers.
Here's our dog, Zeb. Cameo appearance. Gotta be careful with my peppers though,
Zeb,
sir.
come on out, buddy. Come on.
Keep a straight line going.
Oh.
And here's my regular RBB Gussano. Another one that's... You can't really appreciate how many there are because half of them are still not turned yet, but tons of good ones on here. And here's about the final color right here, a nice creamy ivory yellow color. Tending towards white, but still got that pale yellow tint to it. They start off turning kind of a brighter yellow. Not as much so as like the lemon drops or the yellow bullets, but a little bit more of a yellow. And we're gonna pick up my white Fatalis here.
Holy.
Let's see how many.
Plant is giant.
Now this pod is starting to ripen. You can see the white color it's turning. But it's only because it's rotten, and we'll see if it's moldy inside. I hope not. That way I can get some more seeds and spread the love with this one. Because this is a cool variety.
There's a bunch more pods in there, though.
There's a lot of them on here. Not as prolific, and it was a later producer, but it's really beautiful looking pods, and the final color looks really nice. And up next we got my peach boot Jolokia. As you can see, true to form, nice peach color. They're a gorgeous color. I really like this. True Bhuts shape. You know, the really bumpy skin, pointed look. This one especially looks just like the standard shape for a red boot Jolokia, more pointed. There is pod variants and all, especially in the Trinidad and Naga families. But this one's got 50 or 60 pods on it, and they're now starting to change. So there's another fully ripe one in here. So I'll be doing a test of those fairly soon. Just got to eat up the ones that I've gotten from other people in the mail. And Naga Bonds are starting to ripen nicely. Didn't get very big. This is about as big as the ones I got from Mike last year that I got the seeds from. So, good size. Not as big as the ones that Neil grew, Hippie Seed Company. He's the one who developed this variety originally. And probably Australian climate's a little more conducive to gigantic pods. Although we get some big ones here in the US. And you can see there's a ton of them on this one as well. Really good producer. I'll be overwintering this plant. It's another one if you look at
tons of tiny buds and flowers and stuff.
Base of the stem, how ridiculous this thing is. Like thicker than my thumb. And we got the lanterns from Baker's Peppers. The pods I got the seeds from actually were a pale red color, not an orange. But he said that it was some sort of cross, that he didn't know exactly what they got crossed with. So to me it looks like it's part paper lantern and part ghost pepper, based on the flavor and whatnot too.
Tons of them there. There's like 100 pods just dangling in that one area.
Right there?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this is one of my most prolific producers, and they all shot up all at once. Very nice flavor.
Yeah, they're almost uniform in size.
Oh, here's one that
Crazy.
fell. Bonus. Another one put in the pocket. Ladybug Cameo. My Zaveries started getting eaten up by some bug or other. All the leaves were looking like Swiss cheese on the bottom, and then suddenly a bunch of ladybugs started showing up. So I'm guessing it was aphids or some other small insect that were eating them. And the ladybugs are like, "We're gonna eat you guys up." And here's my yellow-orange bird pepper, which all summer has been dormant, basically, not budding up at all. But now there's tons of flowers cropping up,
Olive.
and there's quite a few small pods.
Kitty.
Kitty Cameo. That's Olive. Got a bunch of small pods on there now. That's this one, and there's a few that are bigger than that are just about full size now.
Bunches of flowers now.
Well, moving along down the line. I'm going to show my gigantic ricotta pod. Like the thing is like a small apple now.
Yeah.
There are a couple more on this, I think, that are small. Now this one didn't produce very well. The plant's almost died, so.
The plant is gigantic.
Yeah, very tall. Pimiento finally ripe. So I'll be cutting into that fairly soon.
Still like
that was
a
really
dozen
good
pods on that one, even though they're really big.
And my alleged white boot jolokias, which last time I checked, red is not white.
Obviously not white, yeah.
But we'll see how they taste when they're fully ripe. I'll probably end up picking that one and eating it fairly soon. And I guess we move to the back row here real quick. Wrap this up. My eximium. Nothing really going on with the ripening process, but I'm going to show you a little bit better how many pods are actually on this plant.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. It's a really good producer. This one's going to be overwintered as well, because they got a really nice thin flesh and skin, just like a pepperoncini. Kind of a similar flavor. And you know, that's just about it. All I wanted to showcase this week.
The giant ones?
Oh, yeah, gigantic anaheims.
These are fucking huge.
Pretty big. Not as long as the ones in the grocery store, but certainly nice and hefty, especially for the plant size.
Peppers in our garden.
And one of them, the one that got some sort of, I think, blossom end rot or something, but it's still firm. It's not like it's punky, and it's starting to ripen now.
Can't get a view on it. Your hand is in the way. There it is.
Nasty spot, but it's hardening over. Like a callus, basically. And a lot of really big pendant ones on this one.
Zeb.
And for update on the other gardens, the ones at my mom's are doing well. The RBB Gussano's heavily producing. Cheyenne are starting to ripen. And Jamaican hot chocolate has 2 pods that I've found so far, so we'll be plucking those once they ripen. And my bluff plants have been compromised. I'm almost positive somebody came in and plucked my pods in the last week, because my Cantina Yellow had 2 pods. One of them was like this big and one of them was like this big, and there's no sign of even partially chewed pods. The other times that they got raided, I could see the animals had chewed them and there were pieces of them all over the place, but the Cantina Yellows just plucked clean, and those were a really hot and a really big one, so those are the ones I'd most likely find some wreckage of. But I think somebody fucking raided my stash, and I wasn't very happy with that when I went there yesterday and found that they were picked clean. Every pepper except for a couple green Apaches that were, you know, about a centimeter long. So I'm not going there anymore, so pretty much it's just going to be an update of this one, and then I might throw in like this little verbal overview of what's going on at my mom's. And so yeah, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in 7 days, or yeah, bye bye.